Um, we had imported time series data from the website for confirmed cases of COVID-19, death cases, and recovered cases, and um, uh, and and then in step 2 we explored the data. So we plotted 3-time series of confirmed death and recovered cases in mainland New Zealand, excluding Cook Islands and Niue. And then we found that the recovered cases, um, they stopped recording the recovered cases sometime in July 2021. And then we plotted the graph without um, without the values, the zero values when it stopped recording. And now in step 3, we will look at a snapshot in time. We will look at a proportion of confirmed, recovered, and death cases in New Zealand. Over time, we might have a large proportion of recovered cases as people recovered from COVID. So let's check that out. Plot a subplot with 2 pie charts, square chart, bar chart, or any chart of your choice that can show proportions at 2 points in time. One at the beginning of COVID and one later. In each, show the proportion of confirmed, recovered, and death cases. Hence, you know that we stopped recording the recovered case in July 2021. So the second chart probably should show a snapshot before that point. The first chart should be a point where we have some recovered cases too. So perhaps July 2020 to July 2021. What do you see in the graphs? Can you write a short explanation for the figure? So the confirmed New Zealand data with the fourth row and so on dot index will give us the dates from 22/1/2020 to 9/3/2023. Pandas.to_date time of confirmed New Zealand fourth row and so on dot index comma format equal %m backslash %d backslash %y gives us the date time format, the index in date time format, and it will read 2020-01-22 to 2023-03-09. Next, we convert index to data. Death New Zealand 4 and so on dot index equal pandas.to_date time of Death New Zealand 4 and so on or dot index comma format equal %y backslash %d backslash %y. And recovered New Zealand 4 and so on fourth row and so on dot index equal pandas.to_date time of recovered New Zealand fourth row and so on dot index comma format equal %y backslash %d backslash %y. Confirmed New Zealand of fourth row and so on, dot index equal pandas dot to underscore date time of confirmed New Zealand, fourth row and so on, dot index, comma, format equal percentage y backslash percentage d backslash percentage y. Print death New Zealand dot head of 6 rows, comma, 2 new lines, comma, recovered New Zealand dot head of 7 lines, 7 rows, comma, 2 new lines, comma, confirmed New Zealand dot head of 8 first 8 rows. Then we have the death New Zealand first 6 lines. Then we have 2 lines printed. Then we have recovered New Zealand first 7 lines. Then we have 2 lines, 2 new lines printed. Then we have confirmed New Zealand the first 8 lines. Show working. Print death New Zealand, fourth row and so on, square bracket, everything up to 1st of July 2020. And 2 new lines, recovered New Zealand, fourth row and so on, of everything up to 1st of July 2020, then 2 new lines, then confirmed New Zealand, fourth row and so on, of all the rows up to 1st of July 2020. And it gives this. So death New Zealand is printed from 22/1/2020 to 1st of July 2020. Then we have recovered New Zealand printed from 22 January 2020 to 1st of July 2020. Then we have confirmed New Zealand data frame printed from 22 January 2020 to 1st of July 2020. Then show working, print death New Zealand, fourth row and so on, and all the rows up to 1st of January 2021. Dot sum, open and close bracket, 2 new lines. So the death New Zealand, the number of deaths total up to 1st of January 2021 is 6,330. Then recovered New Zealand of fourth row or so on, of all the rows up to 1st of January 2021, dot sum, open and close bracket, gives us all the sum of the recovered cases, recovered COVID cases up to 1st of January 2021, and that is 433,253. Confirmed New Zealand of fourth row and so on, of all the rows up to 1st of January 2021, dot sum, open and close bracket, gives us 473,564. So the confirmed cases up to 1st of January 2021 is 473,564. Locate the data for July 2020, not July. Let death 2020 equal death New Zealand of fourth row and so on, of all the rows up to 1st of January 2021, dot sum, open and close bracket. Let recovered 2020 equal recovered New Zealand of fourth row and so on, of all the rows up to 1st of January 2021 dot sum open and close bracket. Let confirmed 2020 equal confirmed New Zealand of 4th row and so on of all the rows up to 1st of January 2021 dot sum open and close bracket. So that will give us the same values. Now we want to print, let's show working, print death New Zealand 4 and so on dot sum minus death 2020. So what we're doing over here is all the number of death cases up to 2023 minus sum of those minus death 2020 value, and that will give us the death 2021 value, and that's 612,455. Recovered New Zealand from 4th row and so on dot sum open and close bracket minus recovered 2020. So this will what it does is that it takes the total of all the recovered cases from 1st of January 2020 to 23rd of January 2020, and then it and we are subtracting the 2020 sum of recovered cases, and that's 531,246. Now confirm New Zealand 4th row and so on dot sum open and close bracket minus confirmed 2020 gives us confirmed New Zealand 4th row and so on dot sum open and close bracket gives us the total confirmed cases from 1st of January 2020 to 23rd of January 2023. And then we are subtracting the 2020 confirmed cases, and we get 587,139,600. Then we locate the data for 2021. Let death 2021 equal death New Zealand 4th row and so on dot sum open and close bracket minus death 2020. Recovered 2021 equal recovered New Zealand 4th row and so on dot sum open and close bracket minus recovered 2020. Let confirmed 2021 equal confirmed New Zealand 4th row and so on dot sum open and close bracket minus confirmed 2020. Print death 2021 recovered 2021 confirmed 2021, and we get this. So now we create the pie charts. So let fig comma x1 comma x2 equal PLT subplots of 1 comma 2. So I'll just show you what happens. We will keep PLT.show. Okay. So now we adjust the spacing. Adjusting spacing will put this the x1 and x2 figures apart. So fig.tight underscore layout of ped equal 4. Let's see what happens. So we can see that it goes apart. Now pie chart for 2020. x1 dot pi of curved bracket and square bracket death 2020 comma recovered 2020 comma confirmed 2020 close the square bracket comma labels equal death comma recovered comma confirmed close the square bracket comma uh, auto PCT equal percentage 1.1 F percent. Now what it means is that it rounds, it takes the percentage, it calculates the percentage, and then it takes the first decimal place of that percentage. X1 dot set underscore title 2020. Let's see what happens. So we can see that it prints the percentage value inside each of these segments. So the auto PCT was percentage 1.1 F percentage, which means the percentage is to one decimal place. The death is 0.7% and the confirmed cases is 51.9%. Now let's add the pie chart for 2021. X2.pi of open cleft bracket, open square bracket of death 2021, comma recovered 2021, comma confirmed 2021. Close the square bracket, comma labels equal, inside the square bracket will have death, comma recovered, comma confirmed. And auto PCT equal percentage 1.1 F percentage X2 dot set underscore title of the bracket. Inside the bracket we'll have the title 2021. When we run it, we get this. So the confirmed cases in 2021 is 99.8% and the recovered and death cases are very low, of around 0.1%. Let's now form a data frame. Data frame of data at start and later date. Data frame of data in 2020 and in 2021. Let temp equal pandas.data frame of cleft bracket and curly braces. COVID is the title of the column, and then we have colons, and then square bracket we have confirmed, comma death, comma recovered. Close the square bracket, close the curly braces, and close the cleft bracket. Okay, so we have the COVID column with confirmed, death, recovered. Now let's have the temp, the new column COVID start equal to square bracket. Inside the square bracket we'll have confirmed 2020, comma death 2020, comma recovered 2020. Print the temp, so it prints the COVID cases in 2020. So let's say COVID 2020. So we see that COVID 2020 have these values. Now let's create a new column, COVID 2021. Of square bracket, confirmed 2021, death 2021, and recovered 2021. And when we print the temp, it prints, we have to run this, prints like this. We can see that in 2021, the death and recovered cases are quite low compared to the confirmed cases. Calculate proportions. Let temp COVID 2020 proportion equal temp the COVID column for 2020 divided by temp of COVID 2020 column and dot sum. So temp COVID 2020 divide by temp COVID 2020 sum. So this 473,564 is divided by the sum of these three values, which is confirmed death and recovered for 2020. We'll just put a bracket here. And temp COVID 2021 proportion equal temp COVID 2021 divided by temp COVID 2021 dot sum, open and close bracket. Let's print temp. So these values are divided by the sum of those columns to give each of these corresponding values, the proportion. Now let's reset the index. Let temp.index equal temp column COVID. Let's print temp. Okay, so the COVID column is now the index, the index of the data frame temp. Now let's drop the column COVID. Drop the column. So temp.drop of columns equal COVID, comma, in place equal true. Let's look at temp again. So we see that the COVID column is now dropped. Now we will plot the pie chart from this temp data frame. Pie chart of proportion at the start. So let's see. Let fig comma x equal plt dot subplots of first row in two columns, comma fig size equal 10, 5. So 10 is the height and the width is 5. Sorry, 10 is the width and the height is 5. So it creates the two figures in the first row. So now we will plot the first pie chart. X square bracket 0 dot pi of temp the column COVID 2020 proportion, comma radius equals 0.7, labels equal temp dot index. So temp dot index are these row names. Then x square bracket 0 dot set underscore title of proportion of COVID cases in 2020. Let's run that. And we see the first pie chart is plotted. Okay, so by putting auto PCT equal percentage 1.1 F percentage, we can see the percentage of these segments. So recovered cases is 47.4%, confirmed is 51.9%, and death is 0.7%. Now we will add the second constraint. Pie chart of proportion in here should be 2020 and proportion in 2021. X square bracket 1 dot pi of temp COVID 2021 prop comma radius equals 0.7 labels equal temp dot index. Then we will put one more parameter, auto PCT equal percentage 1.1 F percentage. Then x1 x square bracket 1 dot set underscore title of proportion of COVID cases in 2021. Let's run that. The confirmed cases is 99.8% and the death and recovered cases is 0.1%. So recovered cases, so in 2021 it stopped recording all the recovered cases. That's why the proportion of recovered compared to all confirmed death and recovered is quite low. And the confirmed cases was quite high, but the death cases is quite low. So the recovered cases may have been more, but it's not showing. The pie charts show that in 2020, we have a larger proportion of recovered numbers as more people recovered from COVID. The proportion of recovered and death cases decreased. Okay. Squarify plot of proportion of COVID cases. We import squarify. Then we let fig comma bracket x1 comma x2 equal plt dot subplots of first row comma 2 columns comma fig size equal width is 10 and height is 5. And we adjust the spacing between the figures. Fig dot tet underscore layout bracket paid equal 4. Then we plot the first square. So start of COVID. Squarify dot plot of sizes equal temp. This is the COVID 2020 proportion column. Comma label equal temp dot index comma alpha equal 0.6 paid equal 2 x equal x1 x1 dot axis bracket of x1 dot set underscore title of proportion of COVID cases in 2020. Now for 2021 stage, for 2021, let's plot the squarify. Squarify dot plot of sizes equal temp COVID 2021 proportion. Label equal temp dot index alpha equal 0.6 comma paid equal 2 x equal x2. Now this paid equal 2 sets the spaces between the squares that is formed. Now x2 dot axis of bracket off, so x2 axis will be not shown. x2 dot set underscore title of proportion of COVID cases in 2021. Let's show that. So what happens that we can see the confirmed cases, the recovered and the death for 2020, and for 2021 the confirmed box is quite big, the recovered and death is very minor because the recovered cases were not recorded. Let's remove this pad and let's see what happens from here too. So removing the pad equal to, we can hardly see the difference. They are very close. So let's set the pad equal to, let's run that. And let's see if we are able to display the percentage. Auto PCT equal percentage 1.1 F percentage. No, we don't, because we directly take the proportion, so we can't. Okay, so now let's plot the bar plot of proportion of COVID cases. We import seaborne as SNS. Let fig comma x equal plt dot subplots of first row 2 columns, fig size equal width 10 and height 5. This is for initializing the figure. Create a list of colors, adjust as needed. Let colors equal blue, orange, green. At the start, SNS dot bar plot of x equal temp dot index. So the x values will be the index of the temp data frame. Y equal COVID 2020 proportion. Let data equal temp. Let x equal x bracket 0. Hue equal temp dot index. So the hue, which is the different colors that we'll be using, is for the different index, comma palette equal colors. So the palette is blue, orange and green. X bracket 0 dot set underscore title of proportion of COVID cases in 2020. Later, SNS dot bar plot of x equal temp dot index, y equal COVID 2021 proportion. Let data equal temp. Let x equal x square bracket 1. Hue equal temp dot index. Palette equal colors. X square bracket 1 dot set underscore title of proportion of COVID cases in 2021. So we see this. Now what do we see? The squarify and bar plots also shows that over time we have a larger proportion of recovered numbers as more people recovered from COVID. But in 2021, the proportion of death and recovered cases decreased because we have stopped recording the recovered cases. But the death cases has gone very low and the confirmed cases is still very high.